Oh my god, I'm late. Oh, come on. If one more thing goes wrong, I swear I'm gonna flip out. Oh, where's my phone? Oh! Has this ever happened to you? Welcome to this episode of Al's Garage. And today, we're gonna get the door on our 1994 Ford F150 to open and close properly. We're gonna be tackling it from 3 different angles. We're first going to replace the inner door handle, then we're going to adjust the striker, then we're going to replace the door latch mechanism. A common issue with these trucks is these plastic door handles that just break off after time. It's an easy fix with a 5/16 wrench. Get in there, remove that bolt, and the handle and whatever broken pieces of the handle will come out. To install the door handle, make sure that the slotted end on the replacement handle is faced outwards towards the outside of the door. Then take your 5/16 wrench, get ready for that, but you'll need to hand tighten it to get it started. Makes it easier. Then you can use the wrench to tighten it the rest of the way. Once it's tightened, you can use your handle, move it back and forth, make sure it's tight, but know that that's only solving half the problem. Make sure that you have either WD-40 or some other lubricant to get in there and lubricate all your movement points, because really it only solved half the problem. The door handle broke, but possibly the reason it broke was a lot of resistance from the handle mechanism or the latch mechanism, which you can lubricate as well. So anything that moves, make sure that's nice and moving freely to allow your door handle to not break again, given that they're plastic and are easy to break. If you find yourself struggling to get your door fully closed, I'm talking it latches but it doesn't fully lock, it could be a simple thing like your door striker. And the door striker's on the cab side, but one of the things that can happen is there's a piece of plastic that can break on it, on the actual striker unit. So you can remove it and install it with a Torx T50. You can see me installing mine here, and it has a up, down, inside and outside adjustment. You can see me moving it there, and adjusting it to the right place could fix your issue. Based on the current wear of our latch mechanism, I decided it was worth it to replace this. Now, with my truck, you start by taking a Torx T20 and getting in there and undoing the manual window lever. Now, one thing to know, there's all sorts of variations of these trucks. Higher end ones obviously don't have the manual windows, so this really applies if you have one of the plain Jane trucks that doesn't have any of the power accessories within the door panel. See, this is like a half door panel. Some of the trucks had ones that went all the way down the door, but you can see me here pulling the door panel off. A lot of the principles are the same. The door panel has these clips that come out, then it has a couple of screws that you can use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove. After you remove the inner door handle or any other wiring, depending on the door panel, it should lift right out, as you can see here. From there, it's necessary to take the 3 screws that attach the door mechanism to that door panel and remove those with a Phillips head screwdriver. Unfortunately, with this unit, the screw on the bottom was stripped out, and I couldn't get a Phillips head screwdriver in there tight enough to get the thing out. So I resorted to having to drill it out to ensure that it could come out. That's how it goes sometimes. And from there, taking out the other 2 Phillips head screws was a breeze. The next step is to remove the latch mechanism that holds the inner door handle on. That only takes 1 bolt to take it off. It's a 7/16. You take that out and it's nice and easy to remove. From there, you're almost all the way out, but there's still a few more steps that need to be taken. What I did is I took the door handle itself off just to get all the mechanism out, and those are 7/16 inch bolts. You can see me removing those right now. And when the door handle comes out, there's a rod that connects to the door handle that goes to the latch mechanism within the door. With the outer door handle removed, the next step is to remove the outer latch mechanism. There's a clip, and if you're removing it like I did, you gotta be careful. I chipped the paint on my car sitting next to this. From there, some strategic finagling should get all of your old hardware out of the door. Here I'm comparing my new latch mechanism to my old one. Luckily they're pretty much an exact match. I acquired a OEM replacement, which if you're going to do this job I definitely recommend, just because there's a lot of aftermarket parts that really aren't as good a quality. And if you're going to want to have this last for a long time, this is certainly recommended. There's a few rods that come out of the old latch mechanism and go into the new latch mechanism, specifically for the door handle and for the door latch. From there, it's a matter of putting the new mechanism in place. For me, this is pretty tricky to get in, but if you remove the bolt that holds the window track, where the window goes up and down out, that will allow you to get more movement in there and actually get your pieces to get into where they need to go a lot easier. Once you have all your parts staged within the door, it's just a matter of putting everything back together one piece at a time. Starting with the lock mechanism, the rod slides through components on that lock mechanism, and you just want to make sure you get that in there as you're putting the thing in. For me it was pretty tricky because I had to take the rod and connect it up to the lock mechanism before I hooked it back into the door latch mechanism. Again, I think you could do it either way, but again, this is where it gets kind of tricky as you start to put it back together. But be strong, persevere, and I think you can do it. From there, the next step is to put the outer door handle in. Again, same process. There's a rod that goes through some of the mechanics on that door handle, and you just got to slide it in the correct orientation so that it doesn't pop off. And also make sure there's a couple of little weather stripping pieces. Make sure that that's put on before you put it on the actual door, or else you'll have to take it apart to get the thing put back on. You can see me here struggling a little bit. It took me a while to get the thing in oriented right, but once I got it connected right, I was able to slide it in correctly and move on to the next step. Once that's done, I can take those 3 Phillips head screws and tighten down the door latch unit. Remember, I drilled the one screw out, so I had to go out and replace one of them. Not a big deal. And the next step is to tighten down the bolt that holds that window channel in place now that all of my parts are installed in the door. Everything's coming together at this point, and that includes installing the inner door handle mechanism. Again, that's that 7/16 inch bolt that tightens that down. You can see me doing that here. And the next thing I did is I installed my inner door handle. I just did this before I install my panel. I wanted to have this on so I could test opening and closing the door to make sure everything worked correctly. I'll have to pull it off again, no big deal, to get that door panel in easier. And finally, use a hammer to install the clip that secures the outer door latch mechanism in place. With everything installed, I'm taking a screwdriver and I'm simulating a door striker on it. and I'm testing the inner door handle. It seems to work. It seems to go in and out in release when I open the door from the inside and the outside. So that's a good sign. I just didn't want it to close and then have a big issue of trying to get open or anything like that. So now I'm going to test it out. It seems to close, it seems to open, and I think I should be in business. Well, that's it for this video. All I've got to do is put the inner door panel on, then we're done with this job. You know, this is a common thing with these trucks, and I hope that this was helpful for you. This truck has done pretty good, but there's always maintenance that needs to be done, so I'm going to keep putting out videos on this. If you like what you saw and you have one of these trucks, subscribe and stay tuned for more videos on these 90s Ford pickups. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.